Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1487, written by then inevitable 9678. This stranger speaks my life events word for word. This happened last night, and I'm just feeling so weird about it. I haven't told anything to my friends or family because I feel like they'll think I'm crazy, but wanted to see if the same thing had ever happened to anyone else. Basically, last night I was out walking my dog in a park near my townhouse. It had gotten dark, but there were still a few people out. As I'm about to start walking home, I hear a man and a woman talking. They were a bit older than me, maybe mid-30s. But the reason it catches my attention is because the man sounds exactly like me. It actually sounds like I'm listening to a recording of myself, same voice, even same laugh. I walk a bit closer with my dog, and then it gets really weird. The guy is talking to the other woman about stuff that's straight out of my life, but from his point of view. He mentions this trip I took to Iceland a few years back, a small car accident I had recently, and even my plans to start my own business, which I'm still figuring out and haven't told anyone about. Meanwhile, my dog is acting up and even growling, which is very unlike him. I sat there for a while, hidden and just trying to make sense of it all. But I started feeling really weird and kind of sick, so I took my dog home. I've had some time to think about it, but I just can't make sense of it. I'm still really freaked out. I feel like I stumbled across another version of myself. Case on to file 1487. This stranger speaks my life events word for word. Yeah, that is quite something, and it's pretty clear that it was you. There's no other way someone could know all those intimate details that you never even told anyone else to. So this was you, and I guess it was you from the future. Which begs the question, are you seeing yourself as you will be, no matter what, or are you just seeing a version of your future self? My guess is, it's the latter, and maybe that's just my own bias, because if it is a predetermined future, then free will is a lie, or at least, we have no control over it now as we're experiencing it. Maybe we chose it before and now we're reliving some sort of replay. I used to talk about that a lot. It's still a compelling theory if there is only one future. But I don't think there is just one. I think it's a bubbling foam of quantum future possibilities. And that's how the multiverse even works, is every possible action or consequence of an action splits off into a different universe because there's multiple branching paths for every single one, which is why there are so many different universes it's impossible to even comprehend. At any rate, this was your future self, in my opinion, but it's only one version of it. So you still get to pick which one you're going to be. Now, if you end up being the same one, pay attention. Try to pinpoint exactly when you go there. Of course, the problem is, now you know, so will you even make the choice to go to that park and speak to the person, whoever it was you were talking to, a friend from the future perhaps? You can always choose otherwise, because you already know it. It is like in sci-fi where there's those scenes where people see the future and they have no way to change it. It still happens to them even after seeing it. I don't believe in that. I think even if there's one future, if you go back to the past and show that to the person, they're going to make different choices just by consequence of seeing it. That information has power to affect the future. So in that case, there'd be two futures. But no, I think we live in a quantum foam of probable, possible futures. And there's so many, there's no way to predict it. So live your best life and enjoy it. Case file number 1488, written by Luth That Pog. Amazon is busting into the glitch business. I had ordered some jewelry on Amazon. When I got them, they were way too small, so I needed to return them. So my boyfriend and I put it in the package and folded the bag and put it in the trunk of the car. This way, we wouldn't forget to return it to UPS. So the next day, he returned it with a few other things we needed to return. I got an email saying it was returned and the refund is on its way. Here's the crazy part. Yesterday, a week after he returned it, he was cleaning his car out and there was the freaking package, folded like he folded it a week ago, and in the trunk with the jewelry in it and everything. But what's even crazier is that the package had the freaking return label on it that the UPS placed. After he found it, he came and asked me if the package was returned back to the sender. Like I put it back in the trunk or something, and I was like, no. Also, I've been grocery shopping, running errands all week, which requires me to open and shut that trunk, and I never saw it once in there. We are still rubbing our heads together, thinking how this had to have happened. There's no way I would have missed seeing it there all week. There's no way he brought it back to the trunk after returning it by accident. If that was the case, I wouldn't have gotten my refund. Amazon doesn't refund until they receive your package or have confirmation it's been sent by UPS. So now I have this piece of jewelry that I don't want. Apparently the universe wanted me to have it. Case notes of file 1488. Amazon is busting into the glitch business? I think that's unironically correct. The universe did want you to have those rings. Maybe as future gifts? When the universe returns an item, I don't think it's always intentional. But I think sometimes guardian angel, simulation, developer, whatever you want to call it, God, an angel, I don't know who it is, what it is, but I think there is sometimes a will involved. And when it's very specific items like this, I think there is a purpose that we just can't see yet. If you go way into the deep future, at least in multiple possible versions of those futures, then having these rings for some reason is going to benefit you. And if you don't, maybe those futures just aren't as pleasant for you. So someone is looking out for you in ways that you can't even imagine yet. So hold on to the rings. I think they will become important later on. It's almost like a quest item in an MMORPG where you need to keep those items for a future event. And it's just in this case, you don't even know what the quest is yet. You'll get it later on. Creepy file written by Grace122, The Home Alone Nightmare. So this happened last year. My boyfriend, now husband, and I recently moved into our apartment. We're still getting situated into a new space. One afternoon, he had left to go help his family with something and left me alone in the apartment. I didn't do much but lay around all day and finally decided to try taking a nap. I double-checked the front door was locked. I was paranoid about living in an apartment building with neighbors so close by. I put on a YouTube video and laid down on the couch. After about 10 to 15 minutes of laying there, I heard him standing outside the front door trying to unlock it. I know I wasn't asleep or hadn't fallen asleep because I was still listening to the same YouTube video. I didn't wake up though. I rolled over and pretended to still be sleeping. I heard him come in, close the door behind him, and put something on the table. He walked into the living room and I could feel him standing near me. I heard him say something like, "Grace, are you asleep?" And then heard him walk away into the back bedroom where he sat down in his computer chair. Shortly after this, I actually fell asleep. When I woke up, it was about an hour later. I walked over to the back bedroom and it was empty. I ended up texting him asking where he went. He responded that he hadn't left his family's house yet, but he would be home soon. I started freaking out. Who was in my house? I ran over to the front door to make sure it was still locked, thinking that hopefully I had actually fallen asleep and dreamt the whole thing. But the door was unlocked and there was a pile of mail sitting on the table that was not there before. When my boyfriend got home, I told him the whole story. He seemed to think I was dreaming. Yet we cannot explain how the mail got brought up or how the door was unlocked. We checked the whole apartment for signs of anything missing, but everything was fine. To this day, I don't nap in my apartment because of this. Case notes for the creepy file. The Home Alone Nightmare. Okay, so simple point here, I think this is why traps should be legal. Salt traps too for spirits, so in case this was the spirit of your boyfriend coming home, he didn't know your name. So that is a slightly potentially supernatural aspect to the story. Now it is possible to know the name of someone who lives there, so he could have looked it up, known you, stalked you. That's even creepier. But if it was some sort of forward soul projection, well, I mean, it is also possible that your boyfriend was pranking you. I don't think he would go that far. It's pretty cruel to do that and not tell them, but that is a notable possibility. Either way, whatever the answer, you'll never know, most likely, and the best thing to do is just take steps to defend your own home. There are multiple things you can buy that'll lock the door from inside, beyond just a normal lock on the door. So even if someone has a key, they can't get in. Very good if you're going to hotels or in a new apartment, because you don't know who has the key from before. They don't typically change those locks after every single new tenant. So keep that in mind. Just buy, on Amazon, there's multiple items. You can get door jams, you can get a barricade jam, you can get a thing that just attaches into the door. Now, some of these might not actually prevent someone that is brute forcing their way in, but it will alert you. If someone has a key or they're picking the lock, they won't be able to get in. They'll have to brute force their way in, and there's some things you can buy that'll prevent even that, at least for a good while. Just take steps so you can feel safe in your home, because everyone should feel safe in their castle, I think. And now time for the joke of the day. Why don't skeletons fight each other? They don't have the guts. They spilled out a long time ago, didn't they? And the worst thing about being a skeleton is you can't enjoy food anymore. Although I guess if you still have a tongue, if you're one of those skeletons that isn't fully dissolved yet, that'd be the best of both worlds, because you can't get fat, you can't digest the food, but you can still taste it. That's what I want to be. Maybe that's weird. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.